Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for all your comments, everyone. Karen, I just saw yours fly up right when I was hitting the buttons over here. How are the turtles? Well, the water turtles are doing great. They're at the bottom of my pond outside. They brumate, not exactly hibernate, but pretty similar. They stay in the mud at the bottom and just stay there for about 6 months, basically holding their breath the entire time. But I always try to make sure the top of the pond is not frozen all the way over so you don't trap any of those gases, carbon dioxide into the pond, and that can be dangerous for them. So it's been a chore trying to keep the pond from freezing up there. And Harry's doing great, just eating a lot and being lazy, which is the pretty common theme for winter, right? Hopefully you'll see him again here very, very soon. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to Storm or Snow Talk. It won't be long to be Storm Talk, but this is Snow Talk. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. All right, as always, a quick update on how things are trending on anything involving snow chances. Usually it's in the short range. Sometimes it can be in the long range, and we track it from there. Today, it's really more about the short range than anything, which is nice to have that as an option because for a while there, we were talking about 2 weeks out every time we were doing an update, right? And that gets frustrating because not a lot changes from day to day on a 2 weeks out outlook. In this case, though, we have had several systems in the short range, so it's been keeping us on our toes. All right, so you guys have already figured out the comments system there. So it's again on Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube. I should be able to see them pop in. Just a reminder again, I am old, so it's hard for me to read every little word. So I apologize in advance. And be careful for spammers that type in there trying to get you to buy things. Don't click on those. I'll try to catch them in time and delete them. If you see someone doing that, just type spammer, and I should be able to find it just in time. All right, enough of my rambling. Let's get right into where we stand today on the system that most of you are fully aware of tomorrow night into your Friday. I did ease the snow impact scale down slightly to about a 3. I do think this system does have a limit to it, and that's important to note. I'll explain what that limit is in here just a few. And then next week, just a precautionary item. There's nothing really solid on the data that shows that there will be a mixed potential early next week before we go to rain. But we tend to, in classic scenarios like this, battle that idea. I think it really will depend on how Thursday night and Friday goes. If we get snow on the ground, then I would be a little more confident on that risk being at play. If we get rid of the snow or we miss it and we end up with a less than a half inch and mainly just trace amounts of snow, then this will likely just be rain that'll come into play. And there could be quite a bit of rain coming up down the road. More on that in a second. This is a live looking from, this is New Albany. If you look carefully, you can see some of the steam. Let me see if I can draw it. There's the steam coming in off the Ohio River right there. Something, we've seen it a few times in cold snaps, 2016, 2013 or 14, and obviously 1994. I remember as a kid, it was the entire river was not only just steam bath there, but it was also frozen over. And of course, the 1977 event froze it over completely. I barely remember that one. But very cool when you see how warm the water is, of course, with the ground table and rivers. And this is why a lot of fish in these scenarios do really well in our climate, just because they swim down to the bottom where the ground temps are running generally into the 40s and 50s in that area, not below 10. But you get that steam effect off the mighty Ohio. Very cool. If you see that today, if you're traveling over one of the bridges or walking downtown, you should see it off the side, especially a little more common in the morning hours. Okay, so the numbers outside. Louisville's 9. We dropped to, I believe it was 7 this morning. 9 in E-Town, 8 into Bardstown. The coldest actual temperature I could find was about 7 below zero in Adair County. And the coldest wind chill, I don't have a lot of data on that. I know in Louisville, our wind chill got to 6 below zero at one point this morning. We've improved dramatically to 4 below zero. 9 below as you into Frankfort, and about 5 below into North Vernon. So this particular cold wave that we've talked about since the weekend into now, we are now 85% of the way on the other side of it. All right, so we're now moving away from it. Things start to improve today. We have a good chance to get a little closer to the 30-degree mark today with a lot of sunshine. So actually a very pretty day. And I'm telling you that 30 degrees Sounds cold and normally would around here, but 30 today is actually going to feel a lot easier to get around. You're not going to be running around planting flowers and running around in shorts. You're not going to be doing that. But I think you will certainly feel how much of a deep freeze we were in when you get to 30 degrees outside. And for those of you that still have snow on the roads, a sunny day, even about 28 to 31 in that range, even if you don't hit 32, the sun will do its job and activate the salt and help it and allowing it to work effectively today. So if there are still some snow-covered roads that need to be cleared up, the sun's going to help you out today and taking care of that. Only areas you got to watch, and that's still the case. Even in my own backyard, I still have this where any part of the yard that's shaded still has that patch of snow. And it's always that one patch of snow in the yard that just doesn't want to surrender. Sometimes it could be there all the way until spring, it seems like. It's just that last gasp. I think it's for snow lovers, just to be there as our friend. But the shady snows, probably the best way to word them, the shady snows will stick around for at least another week. All right, so good news that we're getting out on the other side of this cold blast, right? So just as we do, of course, another system's moving our way. Today it's cloudy and cold. I love this image again. Looking from space, you can really see where the snow is, mainly over Kentucky, not so much in Indiana. And you pick back up toward Indianapolis. Southern Indiana and along the Ohio River certainly was skipped in a big way. You got some light snow and some light accumulations, but you can really see that it was how bright it is, and also see the terrain very well across South Central Kentucky, how the elevation really shines it more than areas that are more into the valleys of Kentucky. What a beautiful shot, though, from space today. Nearly 60% of the country has snow on the ground for this morning. Pretty wild. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to get into Thursday night and Friday. I still think we're looking at a two-piece ordeal as this arrives, a 1-2 punch. Still some questions about that. These two will shake hands and we may get a phase system. But to start with here, we need to look at the amount of moisture that is going to be involved in really both ways, but certainly with the first one. And this is the, I believe this is the Euro. This is the Euro liquid forecast. If this was just, 50 degrees outside and rain was coming in, this is how much it indicates would fall. 1/10 of an inch of rain, maybe up to 2/10 to 1/4 of an inch in eastern Kentucky. Remember that. 1/10 of an inch on average. I'll come back to that in just a second. I don't know why I had that map first. Because the amount of moisture we have available when we get cold is key on snowfall forecast. So here it is, one of our in-house models showing this afternoon quiet Thursday. Here we go with the first piece, number one, that is going to be moving in across Tennessee into Kentucky. It keeps trying to bring the rain snow line right into southern Kentucky, just given, though, that they've got snow on the ground. You guys got snow on the ground. This line's likely going to be a little more south. Now, here's the problem. You may get warm air that may try to fly into this and may allow for sleet to get involved, but you won't stay at that level for very long. You'll quickly go over to snow. Either way, fairly good support, guys, that this is going to blossom tomorrow afternoon right across central Kentucky. Bowling Green over toward the parkways, maybe as far north as Shepherdsville and Bardstown and Bloomfield. That may be where we see the first little round here of snow break out, but this is not heading north. This is heading east. So there is a chance this may not build all the way into Louisville. It may actually stare at us and wave and keep going to the east, which means, yes, the majority of what we see with this first piece is nearly the same locations that just got their snowfall just a couple of days ago. Earlier this week, we'll be near the same spots again that we'll get it. A little more of a wet snow, a little heavier, a little more of a snowman making snow, just FYI. But that will develop Thursday afternoon, roughly about 3 o'clock or so in the afternoon, all the way into the evening. That's piece number one, moves off to the east. Here comes number two, that is a little further north, that wants to try to dig in and phase, of course, with this first one, but they're both moving. It's not like this one's sitting still and like, hey, see if you can catch me. It's not how it's going. They're both moving east. So the only way that they're going to be able to phase is this piece either has to slow down dramatically or this one has to speed up. And it's kind of a combination of both. But there are some signs that there could be a shaking of the hands. You'll see that as we head into your overnight hours of Friday night or Thursday night into Friday morning, you start to then see a little bit more of a connection between the two, a little bit more of a light snow that breaks out. This is where Louisville gets involved in Indiana. That we start to see the snow connect to the one to the south, and we start to pick up on some of those snow showers as well for the Friday morning commute. I think snow is likely to be flying around for the Friday morning commute, and then by Friday afternoon, most of this is already wrapped up and is out of here. And then it's nothing but gusty winds, cold wind chills, and single digits down to 0 or lower as we into Friday night into Saturday. All right, remember the snow ratio I told you yesterday, where, again, this is the general basic formula we can go with of a tenth of an inch of liquid. With temperatures that average out near the freezing mark or just barely below it, tend to produce a perfect 10 to 1. Although around here, our ratio is actually a little closer to about 7 or 8 to 1 on average. Anyway, that's nitpicky. But you get the idea, 10 to 1 with that 1/10th of an inch of rain. I'll get it right. It get colder down to the low to mid 20s, and then you're able to get an inch and a half out of that. And then you get down into teens, you're able to get to about 2 inches. And then you see where I'm going with this. Well, you saw the one model had 0.09, so a tenth of an inch. And we're expecting temperatures to be in the upper 20s when that actually does arrive. So that would actually put down right at 1 inch for Louisville if you were to go by the Euro, about an inch. Let me look at other models on moisture. This is the HER Extended. I don't think it can see all the way, and it can't. It can't see the whole event, but all the way up into at least Thursday night, it's got 0.04 or basically 4/10 of an inch of snow, potentially a little closer to an inch as you into Shelbyville. So still nothing staggering there. Let's get to another model here. This is going to be the NAM model. Again, 0.07, which is almost to a tenth of an inch. So that's about an inch of snow. You get down to Lebanon now, you got a quarter of an inch showing up there into Lebanon, a little bullseye. That would actually translate to a little more of a 2 to 3, maybe even 4-inch snow that you guys could get out of that, depending on the ratio. And then our last one here is going to be the graph model, which has a lot of moisture with it. And it did this with the last system, and the totals were not realized, especially in our end. But it's going with nearly a quarter of an inch for Louisville and nearly a half inch for central and southern Kentucky. Now we get to that level and you're dealing with snow ratios. Now you're talking about winter storm criteria being met, especially in that east central, south central area of Kentucky. But even Louisville would be like a 1 to 2, 1 to 3 inch kind of band. But so far, that's the highest I've been able to really find. The majority are right at that tenth of an inch of liquid. And therefore, right now, the outlook is really screaming a 1-inch snowfall, maybe 1 to 2. Looking at the Schreff ensembles, this is hard to read. Let me pull it up full screen. These are the different ensemble ideas of what it could happen. The 1-inch mark is, I'll look over because I can't read it. The 1-inch mark, I believe, is this one right here. Hold on. No, 1-inch mark is right here. All right, so here's the 1-inch mark. And that is where it's got the idea of 1 inch of snow that could fall. And you can see that it really, majority of the members are kind of either side of that. Some go above it to about maybe 2.5 up to 3, and some are lower, maybe only a half inch of snow. But the average right there in the middle is about 1 inch. So common theme here, guys, it really is. And when you look at the European ensemble members, I mean, there's 50 members here that are giving their opinion on the snowfall for Thursday night and Friday. I don't see any blues, first off. So these are all grays, and all grays indicate that it's 1 inch or less. But they're all basically filled in. So they all say, yeah, it will snow enough to get snow on the ground in Louisville, but it could be a quarter to half inch or up to 1 inch. So I'm not sure how you guys feel about that. Are you guys all right with that? Huh? Snow lovers, you all right? I know you want more. You want the big stuff. I get it. But that's the way this is looking. I mean, it's trending toward a light snow event. It will likely be enough to get a winter weather advisory to get issued. But, the only way you're going to get in these scenarios to get it to a winter storm type scenario, or the totals you probably are thinking in the back of your mind, is you got to add more moisture into the system. And there's only one model right now that likes it. The others do not. So it's still early. I say that a lot, but it is early because a lot changed over the weekend for Monday snow. So still a lot of monitoring we got to do. But I just want to give you a little more of a behind the scenes look at the data we're looking at. And therefore, there's not a lot to scream a big snow scenario. In fact, the way the map is drawn, I teased this yesterday about being a backwards C look to it, but I really think it's a good way to illustrate that we got the first round Thursday afternoon, evening. They can produce the heavier snow over the inch to 2 inch mark, maybe up to 3. And then you also have the second wave that'll come into play that'll dig down that could easily put down another 1 to 2 inches of snow northeast of Louisville. Louisville may get lucky just to be influenced by both of them to get us maybe at around an inch type of ordeal. And still worry about you guys to the west in the heart of the letter C that's backwards in this zone, because the way these systems are angled, first one northeast, the other one diving southeast, there is a chance you may get missed. Could get a dusting, but you will likely be on the lower end of the count, the way it's looking now on the snowfall side. All right, any questions on this? I think I don't want to go into a dissertation here about a 1 to 2 inch snowfall, but I know it's the way the season's been. We're just going to be watching the phasing. That's our main issue. We're going to see if we're getting more phasing or not. That would slow it down because duration would help. And then we'll see if we get more moisture involved in that southern piece or not. Those are things we're working on right now behind the scenes. You guys don't always see, but we're constantly looking over the data to see if we see a trend in either way. And if we don't, then you're going to know it by our tone on TV. We're like, yeah, this does not look to be a big ordeal. If we see growing support, there's going to be more moisture being injected and or a longer duration of this. You also know that mainly by me, because I'll be the one that'll be smiling and jumping up and down, running to the studio. So there you go. Good point, Michael. It'll be pretty. May not be the best there for sledding in Louisville. May not be deep enough for that, but it will be pretty. I think some of this will be a little bit of wet snow mixed in there, so maybe it'll stick to the trees a little more, and to the wind knocks it off as well. The drought monitor, Renee asked about the drought monitor. That it would be Thursday that will come out, a new one tomorrow. Okay. Brian is asking with the long term. Let me get into that real quick, because once we get past this, we do end up with that overlapping of the cold Arctic air and moisture increasing, although the moisture seems to want to increase more towards Chicago than Kentucky. If that's the case, that'll buy us enough of a window or time to allow the thermometer to get above freezing. But I think it's going to be that Tuesday morning we need to watch and see how this, with moisture increasing. But this is a large fetch of rain, not snow. Rain that comes our way. In fact, so much rain will be thrown in our area that it wouldn't surprise me that we could end up with perhaps, actually, let me go back to that. We could end up with rain that may be relatively heavy at times into the area. You see one slug there. Here comes another slug. Next Wednesday and Thursday, about this time next week, we may be in the 50s to near 60 degrees with moderate to heavy rainfall in the area. That's going to lead to areas of some high water, I'm sure, the way this is working out. All right, I'm going to leave it at that for now and get ready for the midday show. As always, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Just hang tight. We got a beautiful day today. Lots of sunshine. Just cold, but I'm telling you, 30 is going to feel like you're in southern Florida today. I can say that because we're not in southern Florida, but you get the idea. Overall, the snow chance tomorrow, it starts in southern Kentucky first. Louisville may not get much in the way of snow until after 10 or 11 o'clock Thursday night into Friday. So be aware, there's going to be delays in some areas, but this is one that's not set in stone. So there's a lot to watch. More coming up on midday. See you then.